Evening, everyone, and welcome to the Atmanirbhar Bharat Lecture Series 4. I am Sandeep Kumar Gupta, your host for today's webinar. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed guest, President of the school, Dr. Suman Kumar Miss, Secretary, Mrs. Revati Misra, Chief Guest, Associate Professor Dr. Man Kumar Singh, Manager Ma'am, Mrs. Sandhya Miss, Advisor Ma'am, Mr. Jayanti Samant, Principal, Mr. Santosh Tiwari, Vice Principal, Mr. Ganesh Shankar Chaturvedi, Headmistress, Mrs. Anupam Srivastava, Speaker of the today's webinar, Mr. Ravi Soni, my dear teachers, students, and other members. Today's webinar is focused on the theme of Atmanirbhar Bharat and its relevance to the Nobel Prize in Economics 2024. The Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi aims to make India self-reliant and promote economic growth through various sectors. The Nobel Prize winners for Economics 2024 are Daron Acemoglu, Simon Johnson, and James Robinson, who have made significant contributions to our understanding of institutions and economic growth. Now, I would like to invite President Sir, whose vision and leadership continue to inspire educational excellence and intellectual growth, to deliver the inaugural speech and set the tone for today's webinar. Sir, please.
I have to yield the my time right now. I cannot say anything. There is a background noise going on. So you please proceed with the next step. I will talk towards the end of the lecture.
Main speaker, Mr. Ravi Soni, is a PGT teacher of economics at International Hindu School. Mr. Soni will be discussing the intersection of Atmanirbhar Bharat and the Nobel Prize in Economics 2024. Let's welcome him with a warm applause. Sir, please.
Thank you, Sandeep sir. A very warm and respectful good evening to everyone joined here today. I am Ravi Soni, serving as a PGT teacher in economics at the STEAM International Hindu School. It is both my honor and privilege to stand before you as we commence an engaging and insightful discourse under the banner of Atmanirbhar Bharat Lecture Series 2025. This evening, we explore compiling theme title, Why Nation Prosper? Contribution of 2024 Nobel Prize laureates in economics. Through this presentation, we shall embark on an illuminating journey into the remarkable contribution of 2024 Nobel Prize winners in economics, scholars whose pioneering research deepens our understanding of national prosperity, economic resilience, and pathways to sustainable development. Their groundbreaking work not only enriches global economic thought, but also resonates profoundly with the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, inspiring us to reflect on how nations, including our own, can cultivate self-reliance, innovation, and inclusive growth. I invite you all to join me as we delve into the realms of economic excellence and uncover the lesson that these distinguished laureates offer for building a prosperous and self-sustainable future. Thank you. Ajay sir, please allow me to share my screen.
Yes, sir. Okay.
I wanted to start the session, how institutions are formed and how they affect prosperity, contribution of 2024 Nobel Prize laureates in economics. Good evening, everyone. Today, I am delighted to present a very important topic that lies at the heart of modern economics and global development, how institutions are formed and how they affect prosperity. This presentation is based on the contribution of 2024 Nobel Prize winners in economics, and it is being shared under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Lecture Series 2025. As an economics teacher, I can say that understanding why some countries are rich and others are poor is one of the most fundamental and fascinating questions of economics. Today, we will explore a powerful framework given by the three brilliant economists Acemoglu, Johnson, and Robinson, whose work explain why prosperity differs so much across nation. Ajay sir, kindly change the slide. These three economists, Simon Johnson from MIT, Darren S. Monglu from MIT, S. Monglu from MIT, James A. Robinson from University of Chicago, are pioneers in the field of political and economy. The research answer a very old question: why do some nations grow and become wealthy while others remain trapped in poverty? Traditional theories blame that geography, climate, or culture for these differences. But these Nobel laureates argue that the real cause lies deeper: the quality of institution. We will go through their work in detail and also connect into the Indian economy context. Ajay sir, change the slide. Key concept: institutions, inclusive versus extractive. Institutions, the rule, laws, norms, and constraint that shape economic political interaction. Distinction between inclusive institution, which allows broad participation, protect rights, encourage investments, innovations, versus extractive institution, which concentrate power in one hand, exploit population, and produce inequality. Why this matter? Institution affect incentives, trust, rule of law, all they impact economic growth and welfare. We have so many examples of African country. Darren Asmanglu has been one of the most influential economists in the world of the past 2 decades. His work has repeatedly been ranked among the most cited in economics. He was widely expected to win the Nobel Prize, and finally in 2024 he received it. Together, their work explain not just the economic policies matters, but those policies succeed on the fail depending on the institution and structure. Coming to the main topic, the central ideas in their work in the institution. So again, my question is, what are the institutions? Institutions are the rules of law, game, the formal laws, informal norms, social rules, administrative structures, and the legal system, and the political environment as well that shape human behavior. They argue that the institution can be of two types. First, protect property rights, encourage education, innovation, and entrepreneurship, promote fair competition, distribute political power widely. On the other hand, extractive institutions concentrate power in one hand of few, exploit people and resources, restricts opportunity, encourage corruption, create inequality, inefficiency, and stagnation. Their Nobel-winning research that the inclusive institution lead to long-term prosperity, while extractive institution lead to poverty and slow growth. A major part of their research shows that the history plays a huge role in the shaping institution. The laureates' research shows that the many present-day differences in prosperity can be traced to historical discrimination during the colonial times. I can explain the same with an example. Discriminatory tariff policy. The British used tariff to destroy the Indian handicraft manufacturing industry, which was very popular all over the world. We produces so many goods which is used to produce in our handicraft industry. The Charter Act of 1813 allowed British goods to flood the Indian market duty-free, while the high tariffs of the 70 to 80% were imposed to the Indian textile entering the Britain. And this makes India to the primary exporter of raw material and the importer of finished goods. This destroys the whole Indian economy. The idea of the reversal fortune, places that were wealthy at the time of colonization, often the poor now if they had extractive institutions. So we can say that Britishers has one of the biggest example of the extractive institutions. For example, British rule in India, the British implemented extractive economic institution designed to enrich Britain at the cost of India. They used Indian economy as a feeder economy. Again, I using the same example, during the British rule in India, the British implemented extractive economic institution. They imposed heavy taxes on the Indian textile. At the same time, they allowed British goods to enter India duty-free, though the Charter Act of 1813. This destroyed Indian manufacturing and turned India from a major exporter of textile into a supplier of raw materials. This is a clear example of extractive institutions. They also talk about the concept of reversal fortune, reason that were reached during the pre-colonial times. Poor after colonial rules becomes colonizer set of extractive institution. This explains why countries like India, Nigeria, and many Latin American nations struggle even today with the challenges rooted in the institutional weaknesses created centuries ago. So kindly please change the slide. Theoretical and empirical approach. They combine theoretical modeling of institutional formation, political power, structure, elite versus masses, commitment problems with rich empirical historical data. Natural experiment. Using this variation in the colonial histories, diseases, environment, settler, morality, etc. to identify how different kinds of institution emerged and persisted. What is power elite theory? Here we have an example, Vladimir Putin, political elite, Elon Musk, financial elite. And there are many more examples like Bill Gates, financial elites. So if we concentrate power in one hand, we cannot grow. I can explain further. The work of this Nobel laureates is powerful because it combines the theory with solid evidence. They did just propose ideas, they verified them using rigorous data and natural experiments. Studying settler morality, Europeans set up inclusive institution where they could settle safely, and extractive institution where settling was difficult. So India is one of the example where they have actually set the extractive institution. Studying differences in colonial policy across regions, using historical data sets political power, poverty rights, and economic outcomes. They built models showing how political elites often resist change because institutions that are extractive benefit them. This explains why reforms were difficult but necessary. So change the slide. Key findings and insights. Countries with a strong of rule, property rights, broadly distributed political powers tend to have better economic outcomes. Weak institution and extractive governance lead to stagnation. What do you mean by stagnation? Stagnation means a very slow growth or there is no growth. India have witnessed so much stagnation in the period of colonial, where we actually produces the GDP which is less than 1%. On the other hand, right now, our GDP percentage is more than 8%. So here we can actually good comparison between the colonial rule and right now. Inclusive institutions are not fixed, they can be changed, institutional reforms matter. Now I can explain the same example. Here at the right side of the screen, you can see that the strongest rule of law, where Denmark comes first because of the very good rules, strong rules, participation of people. On the other hand, we cannot see India anywhere in the line. So now we can understand somehow our institutions are not working at the same way. Economic success depends on the inclusive institution, not just the natural resource or geography. Countries with a strong of rule, property rights, and broad political participation do better. A very good example of USA, where you can participate anywhere. Extractive institutions create inequality, discourage innovation, and keeping countries poor. Most of the African countries is an example of the extractive institution. Institutions are not fixed, they can change through the reforms, political transition, and citizen movements. So one thing is very fixed, the situation can be changed, but this change can be happen with the motive of inclusive institution. So please change the slide. Implication policies relevance. For low income and developing countries, building good governance, strengthening legal systems, improving political inclusion, and rendering corruption are crucial. So this could be one of the solutions to improve the institution. For international development, aid, trade policies, and intervention must consider institutional quality, not just infrastructure or investment. Like many times we have seen that the USS provided aid to the Pakistan. So this will not help in the long term because they have to improve the institution, their political law. On the other hand, for today's challenges, inequality and climate change and global crisis, robust institution can enhance resilience and inclusive responses. Again, I can explain you with the same data. Now, this is one of the very important question. Who is the most fastest growing economics in 2025? Here we can see with an example, India lies number one. So Indian economies is growing faster in comparison of any other country. China comes second, then Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, Spain, Brazil, USA, Russia. So we can say that because of the stable political rule, India is becoming one of the largest economy in the world. And it is growing one of the most speedy, and our recovery is very faster. Now I can explain you further. For developing countries, focus must be on good governance, transparency, judicial reforms, and anti-corruption efforts. A strong institution can create an environment where markets function well, businesses invest, and inequality reduces. For international organization, development aid must not just be financial. It must support institutional strengthening. For modern challenges, whether it is climate change, inequality, or global crisis management, a strong institution can help countries to respond better. So change the slide. Now it's time to apply the same theory to the Indian economy. But before that, here is a key findings. Here is an example of living standard in Ethiopia and Denmark. One can easily see the average income per day is $3 approximately in Ethiopia. Inequality, which measure in Guinea, is 33, less than $30 per day, and more than 19% of the population is earning less than $30 a day. On the other hand, Denmark average per day salary is 55 per dollar. So here we can see that a huge difference between the two countries. That is why Denmark rank first. Countries with a strong rule always gives better participation to their people. They allow participation and they always create participation of the public. So change the slide. Now coming to the application part of Indian economy. In our country, so change the slide. In our country, wealth inequality is very visible. Here is an example. You can see that wealth inequality ranking. Look at the Jharkhand, a resource-rich state of India, comes number one in the case of wealth inequality. The very neighbor country Bengal, where we can see that the institutional structure are getting poor and poor nowadays. That is why it ranks second in the wealth inequality. On the other hand, Maharashtra comes 18. And if you look at the southernmost state, Tamil Nadu, they comes 32. So here it is a proof. If you have a strong rule of law, you can improve the situation. States like Odisha, Chhattisgarh, and Jharkhand lagged in the per capita income despite rich natural resources due to the paradox of plenty, which stems from the weak governance, poor infrastructure, and environmental and social disruption caused by resources extraction. In contrast, like state Maharashtra are more economically progressive because they have a better infrastructure, a more skilled workforce, and developed services and financial sector, which foster diverse institutional growth beyond what natural resource alone can provide. In our country, we see the large differences in development between the states. Some states have abundant natural resources like Odisha and Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, but they are still lagging per capita income. Meanwhile, states like Maharashtra and Gujarat have more diversified and progressive economy. Now the question comes, the Nobel framework gives the answer. Yeah, a strong institution creates prosperity. A weak institution creates stagnation. Example Bengal, example Jharkhand. Even though resource-rich states have minerals, they lack institutional strength needed to convert those resources into prosperity. Now coming to the reasons for lagging resource-rich state. So change the slide. It's time to understand the reasons. But before that, we have a data of per capita comparison 2024-25, where Maharashtra comes first in all the Indian state. Per capita income in Maharashtra is 3,09,000. The key economic sector is manufacturing, information technology, and services. On the other hand, Odisha is one of the resource-rich state of India, but only contributing 1,63,000 as a per capita income. Same story goes with the Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. Jharkhand even the worst condition. On the other hand, you can see the data of UP. So all they are not doing that good, even though they are resource-rich country. So change the slide. In many resource-rich states, we observe the resource curse or paradox of plenty. This means natural resources alone do not guarantee development. Please point to be noted, natural resources alone do not guarantee development. Some key reasons. Funds from mining, like District Mineral Foundation, DMF, funds often remain unutilized due to the poor planning. Political and administrative bottlenecks delay development projects. Infrastructure such as roads and connectivity inadequate. Mining leads to environmental issues, displacement, and disruption of traditional livelihoods. The workforce often lacks training and skills needed for the modern industries. This clearly shows how extractive, weak institutions prevent economic transformation. Again, we have some reasons. I've already explained it. You can see the GDP growth per annum of Maharashtra is highest even in the two digits. Many states are still fighting to convert their GDP into two digit, but they cannot because of the weak institutions, weak governance. So Maharashtra is coming first because of the better administration, then Tamil Nadu, followed by Karnataka. So change the slide. It has a diversified economy, finance, IT, manufacturing, film industry, services, etc. Mumbai acts as a financial capital of India with a better governance and regularity system. Poor infrastructure, inadequate and poor roads networks create logistical challenge for businesses. Environmental and social cost. Large-scale mining can cause land degradation, water contamination, and deforestation impact local livelihoods. Displacement of the local population, particularly tribal communities, can lead to a breakdown of traditional livelihoods. And there is also skill gaps. The workforce may lack the skills needed for the modern technology-driven industry, hindering industrial diversification. Here we can say that Indian government does not plan for their workforce. Because of the lack of planning, there is so much poverty in India, and they are trapped in the vicious cycle of poverty. So change the slide. So what could be the solution? Invest in the human capital, improve education, training and skill development to create productive workforce. Strengthen governance, improve transparency, accountability, and reduce corruption. Build infrastructure, good logistic help industries grow and attract investment. Diversify the economy, move beyond mining, manufacturing services, tourism, agro-based business sector. A strong institution encourages entrepreneurship, innovation, and sustainable growth. Based on the real life observation from my visit to the states, I would also like to share some behavioral and cultural challenges. Reasons for progressive states like Maharashtra, I've already explained what are the reasons. Developed service and financial sector, better infrastructure, availability of skilled workforce, and effective governance. All these are the collective reason for the development of Maharashtra. Now coming to the major part, what I've experienced. Many people have low aspiration. This is one of the major reason why they are not growing. Educated youth prefer only government jobs. We can see that in India, people used to prepare so long for the UPSC examination and they wasted so much time. So this is one of the most important reason why there is so much poverty in India. Now coming to the next part, risk taking ability is very low. People used to do a job, even the job is very odd, but they will always fear to have a business. So we have to improve the risk taking ability. People do not take risk or they're taking risk in a wrong manner. They try to earn easy money, which cannot improve the situation. Families discourage, sir, please change the slide. Families discourages young people from trying something new. A lot of time it is wasted to gossips, politics, and non-productive discussion. Lack of mentorship and leadership also slows progresses. Corruption affects even basic processes. So corruption is one of the biggest reason. In many rural areas, people spend long hours in unproductive activities like card games instead of improving livelihoods. So again, it is one of the major problem associated with the Indian economy. People used to spend a lot of time here and there, and they do not invest their time in the productive areas where they can learn the skills, they can learn the better knowledge, but they invest their time into playing cards and other odd games. These are the deep rooted issues. They reflect institutional and social challenges. Change the slide. Unless mindset and governance improve, development remains difficult. So at last, I can say you, the weak institution can worsen the situation. Through the work of Westmoglu, Johnson and Robinson, we learn that institutions matter more than everything else. Though you have all the resource of the world, you will definitely suffer if you have a weak governance. Prosperity is not a coincidence. It is a result of strong governance, inclusive system, and forward-looking policy. So please point to be noted, prosperity is not a coincidence. It is a result of strong governance, inclusive system, and forward-looking policy. India has a numerous potential, and with a stronger institution, we can accelerate our journey towards a truly Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you all for listening me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Now, I, I would like to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Man Kumar Singh, Associate Professor of Economics at DAV PG College, Varanasi. Dr. Singh is highly qualified academician with a PhD in economics from Banaras Hindu University, specializing in institutional finance and rural development. He has over a decade of teaching experience and has presented numerous papers at national and international seminars. We are grateful to have him share his expertise with us today. Now, I would like to invite our guest speaker, Dr. Mayank Kumar Singh, to share his view on the theme. Sir, please.
Thank you, sir. Very good evening. So, President, sir, and all of the special and principals and the teachers, especially Ravi Soni, uh, and very congratulations to Ravi Soni to give the a fantastic lecture um, on your Atmanirbhar Bharat lecture series 4. Um, Whereas I think that the development has a vast issue. There is a number of parameters, there are number of predictors and the target variables, but the ultimately the achievement is a development. But in the current scenario, there is a number of definition is also available to reach the development indicators. Just like some somebody or the some researcher is talk about the economic development, and some are to discuss the economic growth, some are the sustainable development, HDI, PQLI. There are number of the indicators which measure the economic development. As per as when you just talk about the Nobel Prize 2024, which is your the primary skill of the today's lecture, then just I think that the Dorian and the James Robinson write a book, Why the Nation Failed, and the reason of the power, prosperity, and the poverty. Whereas the individual work of the Simon Johnson, which studied in the sub-Saharan countries and the Latin American country, and set up an example of the Nogales. Nogales is a divided city of the Mexico and the US. There is a two part. This is a divided part, and Simon Johnson just observed that the part which is US is prosperous, rich, and there is a less inequality rather than the part of the Mexican dominant Nogales city. So basically, the observe and the data just say that the institution is a dominant factor to scaling the economic development. I think that this is a just a hypothesis when they start their work, but the features, the data, and the behavioral studies of the different country like that Kenya, Namibia, or Brazil, Chile, they thought that they conclude their remark. Good governance, transparency, is create a stable environment for the peoples, for the citizen, for the businessman or the architecture or the entrepreneurs to set up their businesses and run their businesses, and the citizen have better opportunity to enhance their quality of life. And if you just talk about the Amartya Sen is the first economics which completely changed the definition of poverty and the inequality. The before Amartya Sen, we just understand that the poverty is nothing but the lack of assessment of the necessities. But after the Amartya Sen, the countries have failed that the poverty is nothing but the lack of opportunity. The lack of opportunity. We have no opportunity to performance well. There is a lack of opportunity to the businessman to perform their business activity in a market in a global scenario. I think that the Doreen Esimoglu, Simon Johnson, and the James Robinson is extend their study in a path of the Amar Sen and the recent development economics, and just said that the institution have the responsibility to encourage the opportunity of the citizens, and it must be reduce the inequality. And if we just talk about the whole scenario in the literally word, there is a four types of inequality. We just face that. First is a wealth, income, or economic inequality, which is measured that ki some people are the some reason are the some countries have rich and the some are the poor. Second is a social inequality, which is distributed in the caste system, the forward, then the backward, the SC, STs, Dalit, and the Adivasis. And the third is a gender inequality, especially man and woman. And fourth is a regional inequality, which is also take over by the Ravi Soni, the example of the Maharashtra, Bihar, Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, and so on, so on. Then there is a four type of particular inequality, and in stats, we just measure the inequality with the Gini coefficient and the Lorentz curve. The Lorentz curve and the Gini coefficient is a measurable remark to measure the inequality. So if we just divided the whole India in the six part, Central India, South, North, East, West, and the Northeast, then we just said that the South India is more prosperous rather than the other region or the India. But if just we take about the intra-region inequality, intra-region inequality in behind that key, if the south region there is a state of the Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and the center India is a Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and the north is a UP, Bihar, Punjab. So intra-regional inequality is growing up. Intra-regional inequality is growing. Mane ki if we just take the example of the North India, the Bihar, the UP is more backward state rather than the comparison of the Punjab, in the comparison of the Himachal Pradesh, and if you just take the look of the West, the Maharashtra is more prosperous rather than the Rajasthan. So the scenario is very hodgepodge. Which measure or which indicator is more appropriate to define the development? Inequality is more important. Good governance is more important. Or good governance is the lead to the inequality or the prosperity. So there is a lot of way to define the thing. There is a two-way or the univariate analysis, but the after the 2024 Nobel Prizes is a theory is a theory impact, not this is a hypothesis. Now the theory stabilized that the institution have also responsibility of a development which lead to remove the inequality. The good governance, the policy makers, the institution, the government have the responsibility to create a healthy environment which give the more opportunity to their citizen. The Manrega, the Atmanirbhar Bharat, the startup, the stand up India, the uh, several policies in a health scenario, in a midday meal yojana. All these, the policy making of the Indian by the Indian the initiative taken by the Indian government is nothing but the remove the inequality and to progressive institutional responsibility. I think that the inequality, you just talk about the inequality, then the regional inequality is more hammered to the current Indian scenario. The regional inequality is more harmful for the India, just like that the Goa, according to the Ravi Soni, the Jharkhand and so on state have the richer in the form of resource, but having the low income. But we just take about the Goa example of Goa. Goa have no resource. There is no any resource. I think that, but the tourism is a basic face of the Goa, and the current feature of the current data set, the Goa have the highest per capita income in of India. So we just create the environment and identify the development indicator of a particular state, which we enhance that. Just like government of India just initiative one city one product. So one city one product is the initiative of India to encourage the local businesses. But I think that the Indian government have responsibility to charge up a particular state in a particular activity, like that the coral beach state to encourage their tourism, and the Holi's state just like a UP, just like a Madhya Pradesh have encouraged their spiritual identity to remove the inequality and giving the more opportunity. Uh, I think that this is a sufficient for today's lecture. But I think that Ravi Soni have given the remarkable presentation at the such topic. Thank you to all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, to express and share your knowledge with our audience. Your expertise and insights are greatly appreciated. Now, I would like to invite our president, sir, to give some their insights and views.
Thank you very much. I see that Ravi Soni has grown in stature. He submitted the initial slides and I kept working with him and he came through. So I congratulate him for a good presentation. And this lecture is dealing with such a important topic that we have to think of. You have to reduce it to writing, turn it into an article, and then we will use our resources to get it published for much wider publicity. This lecture is going to be on the YouTube, but YouTube has limited audience. This is dealing really important. It should catch the attention. Now, there were many good points made in this. For self-sufficient Bharat, um, yeah, the initiate, the kick in the butt, I should say, was given by the tariff which was introduced by America on Indian products. And I hope this kick in the butt will wake us up and shake us up, and we should get on with it. There is so much inequality. I just want to give you an example. Goa, like was given the example, Goa, I have been there. It's nothing but tourism. Okay. In Varanasi also, it has become like that. Tourism has increased the income of the business people. But the government is not able to manage the traffic. It's shutting down schools when there is a big crowd. So this is the failure of governance, that you are shutting down the institutions which create good citizens. So this has to be solved. This is part of the good governance. We have taken another initiative at the International Hindu School. We think this caste system is pulling us down. So we have been trying to promote, to develop bunch of citizens who will not believe in caste system. because God has created, the same God is in present in all of us. And some of us are discouraged from doing things. So inequality and corruption, we should have, I don't know if there's a Nobel Prize around or somebody expert how to reduce corruption. We should have a lecture on that. Corruption is pulling us down. It's affecting legal system. It's affecting all virtues, all systems. So I will like to apologize. In the background, there is a music rehearsal going on, practice. There is sound, so maybe my remarks will have to be re-recorded and introduced in this. But I will yield to our principal, Mr. Santosh Tiwari, for his remarks. But before that, I think there is a question and answer.
Yes, sir. Now, floor is open for attendance to ask question. Students, you can write your questions in chat box. Ajay sir, please allow the chat box.
Yes, sir, already allow, sir.
No chat. Students, you can write your questions in chat box. Whatever you have queries or any question.
Actually, they can also send an email
Yes.
to Mr. Ravi Soni, and the questions will be answered eventually. So,
Okay. So now I would like to invite our principal sir to deliver the vote of thanks.
Okay, am I audible to you all?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, good evening, sir. Okay, good evening to everyone. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep, for inviting me. Really, you have moderated this session very wonderfully. The special thanks goes to you, Mr. Sandeep. I hope you have found this webinar series very informative and engaging. I would like to extend my sincere thanks, vote of thanks to the guest lecturer of the day, Dr. Mayank Kumar Singh, who elaborated this lecture series really very nicely. So my sincere thanks to goes to him. He is really very wonderful and informative person for this particular topic. I also offer my sincere vote of thanks to our President Sir, Dr. Suman Kumar Miss, to encourage us to organize this Atmanirbhar Bharat series, lecture series. I also give my sincere thanks to my PGT teacher, Mr. Ravi Soni, who organized this, who already created this series so nicely and wonderfully for we all. I am very grateful, Mr. Ravi Soni, and I am very impressed. Okay. And I also offer my sincere thanks to all my participants, those who are attending this lecture series, and I hope definitely you people have gathered a lot of good information. And this particular webinar series will be continued for the next Saturday series. So definitely you all people, you all are going to get something from this series, and I hope we all are giving very informative information to everyone. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir.